Okay, there's a Kickstarter for more Swat Kats. What's Swat Kats? Go watch my review of it. To promote the Kickstarter, I need to get this interview out as fast as possible, so here's the interview audio. There's timecodes to skip to topics in the description, and an MP3 and iTunes download. Also links to buy discount t-shirts of me from TeePublic because they won't stop messaging me about it. So here's the interview with co-creator of Swat Kats, Mega Babies, and Lunatics Unleashed, Christian Tremblay. I currently don't have the time to do an edited down interview with clips and footage, but maybe I'll do it later. Okay, so who are you?
Hey, I'm Christian Tremblay. I'm a co-creator along with my brother Yvonne of Swat Kats, the Radical Squadron.
So the Swat Kats. So what got you and your brother into animation?
How we got into animation? Well, if we go way back, I mean, when I was probably I was in third year of high school. We used to read those French comics from France. I grew up in Quebec, in a small town, and then but we got those comic book from France that was hugely popular. They were called Piff Gadget, and every week we would get the comic book, and there was always a gadget of the week. So it was all wrapped. The magazine was all wrapped, and we were always excited, to get the next week, and see what, the comics and also what the gadget was going to be. And then on that particular week, it was a Zutra, little circle things, that you put a little band of little different drawings, and then you just spin it, and you see things moving, and we were quite fascinated by it. So, but it was small. So it wasn't long for us, we took, we dismantled a bike. We took a wheel of a bike, like a 21-inch, bike. And then we built our own bigger Zutra. At least, we can have,
I see.
a bigger circumference, to do drawings and stuff like that. That's how we got into animation, essentially. And then, so that's the backstory. But actually, so that's what got us the peek into it. And then after high school, we got into classical art training of drawing, fine art, and sculpture. And as well, we got into animation, studying, from mainly from Disney's Nine Old Men, technique of animation. That's how really, back then we wanted to be like Disney animators and stuff like that. And but animation was absolutely not popular back then. Disney were doing the Black Cauldron at the time. It was a dark, it's almost a dark age of animation. Disney was not doing well. The movie, those kind of movie, it was just not popular.
Yeah, I heard the 80s were like the dark period of animation until I think Little Mermaid started like some sort of renaissance for Disney again.
Yeah. What happened is that Disney was not doing well. Ron Miller was running the studio, and it was just not doing well. And so the new heads of Jeffrey Katzenberg and Michael Eisner moved into Disney, and then this is where animation took a whole new leap. They did Little Mermaid, and then just the follow up of movies after that, and suddenly animation became huge, became a big thing. Back then we had no school to study animation. I mean, we were talking about animation. People had no clue what we were talking about. Like they thought we were animating like scout campground. Like you animate whatever. It was weird. It was a weird time. But so we got into animation, and then we were looking at, so we were studying basically, we were self-taught, like 7 days a week, for 6 years almost and stuff like that, and just, perfecting our craft. And then we started to look at what was going on in television, and we said, hey, we can do that kind of stuff. So we started to create ideas and concepts. And then with my thick accent back then, started to call Los Angeles, which seemed to be the end of the world. I mean, for me, Montreal, in the cold and everything. And calling Los Angeles was like calling at the other side of the world. But they were responsive. They say, hey, if you come to Los Angeles, we'll be happy to meet you. So it doesn't take long. Didn't take long for us to jump on the plane and gather our stuff and start to go to Hollywood, and started to talk to people in the studios, and they always had a good reception. We were out of the circle of Hollywood, so we were not influenced by any kind of ideas. We had new types of ideas, not influenced by anything. So there was always something that they found attractive about us, until we. So that's how we came to Hollywood. It took a couple of years. We had a couple of deals with NBC Studios and Hanna-Barbera and Haim Saban and the different companies back then, until we got Swat Kats to be produced.
Oh yeah, by Hanna-Barbera, and was it known as Cartoon Network at the time? Because a lot of people say it started on TBS.
Yeah, no, exactly. So what happened is that Swat Kats was at Hanna-Barbera for probably 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
2-3 years in development and things like that. But the studio was not doing very well as well. So what happened is that Ted Turner back then bought Hanna-Barbera Studio. So they decided, now they had money, they had fund available. So they decided to produce 2 new series. So they gathered all the projects that they had developed internally. And we were in Montreal, so they said, guys, come to Los Angeles. You're going to pitch. You're going to be part of the pitch of the projects to the Turner executive, which came from Atlanta. So Hanna-Barbera had a small theater. It had a theater inside the studio, and all the executives were there. And I said, that's it. This is our chance, and then we give it all. I pitched SWAT Kats with all the boards and everything the materials I had done, and then some piece of music, and then I think I won them over. They decided to go with SWAT Kats.
Oh yeah, how did you and your brother come up with SWAT Kats?
SWAT Kats was originally a drawing on a piece of garment. It basically was a T-shirt. It was a line of T-shirt that we did back in Montreal. That's how we financed our trip to come to Los Angeles. And it was quick for us to do T-shirt designs. We did it for Warner Brothers license and Hanna-Barbera's license, like Flintstone and Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny. But we also created our own lines of T-shirts. So there was this line of T-shirt that actually was sleepwear for women that we did, and we just got the production sampling from the company. So we had it hang, in our living room. And Yvonne looked at it and he said, "Wow, that cat looks like a jet fighter pilot." Because my brother was really into that kind of stuff, and also the cats has been associated with the U.S. Air Force, most notably with the F-14 Tomcat.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "This guy looks like and we say, "Yeah, okay." And then we started to create another buddy of his, like a co-pilot and stuff like that. And then this is how we got it. We got it there. It was the genesis of the show. And then we always liked, I was very much influenced by Batman, the '60s series, which we watched. It was insane for us. Watching that show was crazy. How much it was amazing for us. And they had those recurring villains. I always like that. So I said, let's put, recurring villains in there, like a rock galleries of villains that can come back, but also new ones, like that might not necessarily come back, but we wanted to have like a rooster of villains. And then, the whole thing evolved. We said, okay, let's set it up. And if it's cats, let's put it, a whole cat world, and they would fly between the buildings, with their jets and stuff like that. So we were getting ourselves excited, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then it was just to create a world out of nothing, like you just create a world and then you make it work, with ideas and adventures. They would have tons of gadgets. I always loved to create, gadgets and stuff and vehicles. And so it was a perfect project for that.
Oh yeah, because like every week I noticed that they always introduce like some new vehicle or gadget or whatever. Just like the that French comic you mentioned earlier in the interview.
Yeah. No, exactly. We, you know, the French Canadian people at the roots, they're really, how can I say this in English? They're really like, they like to make stuff. They like to build stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're builders. They like to invent. Bombardier, the famous jet company and trains is French Canadians. There's so many Cirque du Soleil. I mean, always been builders in some ways and creating. Instead of just shooting a missile, we knew that a missile cannot have a villain explode. It pushes us to come. So what if octopus missile? It comes, it fires up, like just like a missile, but then just about to hit, it opens up and grabs the villain. It doesn't kill the villains, but at least catches it. So we start with those kind of crazy things, and then it just evolved from there.
Oh yeah, because you could. I mean, it's still a kids show. Like, was there a lot of stuff that you couldn't put in?
You know what? I mean, if you look at the show, there's quite a lot of helicopters crashing into buildings and exploding, and you don't always see the guys coming out with their parachutes.
Yeah.
So
because I noticed there was one episode where there was some slime creature that swallowed like a subway full of people, and you never saw those people again.
You never saw them again.
No.
So to answer your question, we knew ourselves from me and my brother. We knew, and Glenn, our story editor, we knew what was not going to be like. We were never really into bloods and stuff like that, So, I don't recall, there's blood in the show. So we self-censored ourselves, because we didn't need that kind of thing. And the rest, we knew we couldn't really have a missile, blow up somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest, I mean, we blew up tons of buildings and cars and a bunch of stuff. It was fun to do.
Yeah, but was there a time where you wanted to do something, but the network said, no, you can't do that?
No, because, the series was launched on Turner Broadcasting. So it was all internally at Turner. And you know what? I don't recall a time where said, no, you can't do that. I have no memory of that.
Yeah, because I'm surprised at what they were able to get away with. Because it's a pretty brutal show sometimes. But what were some of the inspirations for the art of SWAT Kats, like visually?
Visually, I would say and fans, everybody who pledged on the book. The art of the TV series, they'll see a few things in there. But I was looking at some of the drawings back then, and then there was a little bit of Blade Runner, Sid Mad uses of color sometimes, especially in Blade Runner was pretty cool for me. The bright lights, in contrast to darker, surfaces. So that was quite a big of influence. Anime, especially in the second season, we wanted to push more. Always been fans of those Blur BJs and stuff like that, so we tried, to use those kind of things. But that was, visually, that was kind of our my influence for that. Having a greedy feel. Also, in some ways, the technique is the same as what Disney did with the Aristocats and 101 Animation, which basically has the background painted and then an overlay, a Xerox overlay on top of it, which gives it, its gritty edge a little bit.
Oh yeah, because I noticed there's a lot of inking and it kind of looks like a '90s comic book, but a little bit of Akira in there too, I think.
Yeah, there's some, and it's the look, you look at the characters, and they were not superheroes type of characters. They were not all beefed up, muscular. It was in a way it was strange. The way the characters, they were cats. They were not like Superman or X-Men or whatever it is. Also back then it was the era of Image Comic, if you recall.
Mm-hmm.
Age comic was starting out about that time, and I mean, all the comics were all about, you know, how bigger the muscular could be and stuff like that. And we were like totally I mean, we came up more like around the era of anthropomorphic characters, Ninja Turtles, and it adds its own feel, you know.
Yeah, because like that's one small aspect that I like about SWAT Cats. They're not like buff or superheroes. They're just thin guy and a chubby cat just fighting crime. They don't have any
Yeah,
powers or anything.
yeah, no, exactly. They're kind of regular Joes, you know. And
Yeah.
uh, but you know, the personality were really cool. You know, the villains as well,
Hmm.
and Glenn did a great job. You know, in the assuring, you know, great continuity and humors and stuff like that. And then I think what we're talking here, you know, because television is all about characters and you care about characters.
Hmm.
I think what we achieved very, very well with SWAT Cats and as a team effort was really getting characters that you care about. You know, they're just not like, oh, something happening. Yeah, let's get you ninja dead, blah blah blah, and then you know you kill a bad guy, the show's over. And no, you know, like one episode, if you recall, we have one episode where T-Bone, you know, as Jake, they're training as civilian, you know, in their garage, and Chance just realized that Jake cannot swim,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's like it's things we can relate, you know. It's like, okay, no, yeah, he can't swim, you know, and then you know later on he's stuck, you know, in the on the water and stuff like that. And those are the kind of things, you know, that it's well written, it's personality, and if you do those kind of things right, people will love those characters. And then I think that's what happened, you know, with SWAT Cats as well. The villains, I mean, you know, Mac and Molly, their personality and all that stuff, and each have their own agenda and something. And then and we're gonna dig a little bit more into those characters, you know, as we move along.
Ah, yeah. But did you have a favorite villain?
Favorite villain. I would say probably the favorite to draw is Dr. Viper, but my favorite, I like the Metallic Cats, McAvoy. I like the Past Master. My favorite would be Metallic Cats, Past Master, Dr. Viper. Um, um, but I mean, it's hard because each ones are different. You know, there was something interesting with Turmoil.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
I really wanted more out of Turmoil, but she was only like in a half episode.
yeah, yeah, those are kind of an experimentation we did. We say, well, let's do, you know, let's do half episodes, you know, 11 minutes episodes, see how it goes. And then, because again, you know, you take that episode and then you tap into, you know, maybe a weakness from T-Bone's side, you know,
Hmm.
maybe he's falling for it. You know, it's those kind of things that makes it related to those characters.
Hmm. So how come season two looks so much better than season one in terms of visuals?
It's an involvement. You know, we had Mook Studio, which you know was tremendous, and also you know they really put a lot into it. Mook was not a was. I think we give them a first break, you know, to do an animated series in the United States, so they really give it all. Um, the drawings are pretty cool what they did and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Then I mean, it's the second season. You learn things from the first one, and then you try to do better. You know, you try to improve upon.
Yeah, but let's talk about the new what you're doing now. What are your plans for SWAT Cats with the Kickstarter?
Okay, well, the plan is very clear: is to bring back SWAT Cats as
Hmm.
full-fledged and animated series. In order to do that, as laid out in the plan in the Kickstarter, you know, putting a series together is today's well back then still, but it's expensive. You know, you need partners and investors and you know maybe co-producers and things like that. And in order to do that, you know, we need to show what the stuff's going to be. What when 2015, what is Swat Cats Revolution? Where do we take it? You know, forward. What an example of new scripts. We need to bring it today, and in
Hmm.
order to do that, you know, we need to have new materials, new visual, new materials, show pieces of animation, and then so that's one part of it. The other part of it is to bring a big vibe toward the property, because done right, we can really build a franchise out of SWAT Kats. If SWAT Kats would have been, if we were in this era we are now, back in 1994, it would have been a totally different story. First of all, when the show was canceled, there would have been, massive, email going on, and an online presence, to the, and it's just, it would have been a different story. So we're in 2015, the world has changed, and people have tremendous power, and we can build a very strong franchise based upon SWAT Kats. We own the TV rights, we own feature film rights, live action and animation, and we can really contribute and bring new entertainment, new stories to this. This is what this campaign is about. Getting concrete materials, but as well build a new buzz about it. So when we talk to people, hey, listen, guys, we have this thing going on. Look at people. Look who's behind this, and then we can really build. And look what Hollywood is doing. This movie came out, or it's just about to come out, Men from U.N.C.L.E. You have Iron Man came out, the first movie. My kids never heard of Iron Man.
Yeah.
So studios right now, they're going about franchise things they've done in the past, part of the libraries, and SWAT Kats, we can do the same, and that's what this campaign is about.
Yeah, and also, I don't know, Hollywood's barely starting to get into, like, 90s reboots, because they've been doing 80s reboots forever, but besides Jurassic Park, I can't think of any other 90s reboots they've done recently.
Yeah, I mean, but the reason we're behind this, the reason we did the Kickstarter campaign, we're totally convinced that SWAT Kats, but beyond that as well, people who've never heard, they will dig and they will love the show, and we can run it for a very long time. We're convinced about that.
Oh yes.
And so that's what is fantastic in the era we live now. If you saw the Kickstarter, first page, it says, "Dear SWAT Kats fan, the power is in your hands." That's what we live now. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, I'm surprised like how well the Kickstarter is doing, considering SWAT Kats is 22 years old and there's still a strong audience.
Yeah. It's I would have never predicted that. Back when I was I'm going back looking at that T-shirt on the wall, and then scribbling the first sketches that flash forward, because that was about 26 years ago. 26 years, you fast forward, will be having huge support from people to bring back SWAT Kats. You don't plan those things. You just try to do great things that you're passionate about, and then getting a crew that is equally passionate, and you get a result that shows passion, I think.
Yeah, how did you get the rights back from like a major studio like I guess Warner Brothers or Cartoon Network?
No, well, it's part of our original agreement. So we own the new TV series, and then those rights expired, so it went back to us, and then we own the TV the movie rights, animations and live action, and so it's a contractual part of our agreement.
Yeah. So with this new, whatever happens with this new SWAT Kats, will it be a continuation?
It is a continuation. We're not, we're taking it, to where it was left, in essentially. We're gonna dig deeper into characters, personalities, relationship, but the same type of vibe as far as actions and inventiveness and gadgets and things like that. We're not making something new. We're just making, we're continuing, the quest, the adventures. We're continuing the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Like, would we ever get like an actual like soundtrack of any sorts, like maybe on iTunes or something?
It's something that it's possible. It's part of some discussions we'll need to have in the near future.
But so, do you have plans like to release the new SWAT Kats online or TV or what happens?
Well, we're gonna go where we need to go.
Okay, so
We're gonna go where we need to go. I mean, right now it's
too early.
you know, when I started out, there was three places basically to put your shows on TV. There was a three major broadcaster, or you could go in first run syndication. This is 1994. We're in 2015. There's so many places, and there's many ways. We have many opportunities in front of us. So we'll see where it's gonna lead us.
Do you have any idea how the new visuals are gonna look like?
We're gonna start doing. That's one of the part of the reason of the Kickstarter, to get material going. So we're gonna start getting those new, conceptuals and visual things like that. Again, we're improving upon and carry on the legacy forward of Swat Kats.
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm hoping like what you do with the new SWAT Kats. I'm hoping that it still has that grungy, dirty look that a lot of shows back then had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's part of that.
Okay. By the way, so there was a crossover episode of these TV shows called Uncle Grandpa and Steven Universe. If you ever saw those shows,
I've seen I've seen a couple of those. I haven't seen that particular one, but I know what you're talking about, and I've seen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, where it implies that Uncle Grandpa has visited the SWAT Kats in one universe.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if because I believe they do that when the shows are part of the same broadcaster.
Yeah.
And then but we'll see where SWAT Kats in our discussions with those guys goes, and we'll see.
Oh yeah. But I guess this is enough for SWAT Kats. But would you like to talk about your other shows that you and your brother made?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's very exciting things we're working on, which I can't really talk right now.
I mean, like shows you've already made, like Mega Babies.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. So we did SWAT Kats, and then we had a string of deals with all the Hollywood studios as independent creator producers, and then one of them is pretty interesting. It never got made, but I'll tell a little bit of the story of that. Because that was before Mega Babies, and actually it was even before SWAT Kats. We were doing a comedy Penguins project, and we had deals with Warner Brothers Studios, Hanna-Barbera Studios, Universal Studios. My gosh, I mean, so many people got involved with that particular project. And when Warner Bros, we almost sold it to Fox back then, but it was between our show and another one, but they took the other one. So we decided back then we say, okay, well, let's turn this into a feature film movie. So, and then interestingly, we managed to have Dodi Fayed, which, the gentleman who died with Princess Diana.
Oh,
he was, but that was before he was with Princess Diana. He was actually our partner on that feature film movie. And what was interesting is that we were doing a CGI live action Penguins movie, and that was before any Penguins movie in Hollywood. That was before Happy Feet,
yeah,
before Surf's Up, before there was any Penguins in Madagascar.
There was a long stretch of just Penguin movies.
We were way ahead of our curve, and we were down to the second version of our script, for the movie and stuff like that. And then the tragedy happened. So that was a big one to work on. Then we did Mega Babies. Then we did the Lunatics Unleashed with Warner Brothers, and then we did recently we did a primetime animated series in Canadian broadcaster. And obviously, amidst all of that, there's always different projects at different stages. Right now, we're working with we're producing, just about to start on a new series, which DreamWorks is our distributor. And then we're working on another very big brand, a worldwide brand, that we've created something pretty cool on the action genre things and comedy. I mean, it's quite a lot of things. It'll be interesting, to follow up, and then I'll be happy to talk to you guys.
Oh yeah, because you can't say what it is. I know, but I don't know. Going back to Mega Babies, like, was it like some sort of parody of the popularity of Rugrats at the time?
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me say.
Oops.
No, sorry. Let me say when we did this one. Okay, so Mega Babies was created. I was sitting by the pool one afternoon, and then came up with this idea. Then we developed it, my brother and I. But the vision we had for it was, we did a few meetings, but we said, well, nobody's gonna get it. It was like too out there. So what we did is that I went to see a good partner of us, and I said, hey Gary, look, we have this project. Let's do a 2-minute animation teaser. We'll put our time into it, and then so he put up the money. We put our time. We did it, and then the fourth meeting, we sold it to Fox. And you see, we needed to have this piece of animation so people could understand what the humor. But going back to your question, when we did the pitch, one of the network, I don't recall if it was Nickelodeon back then, but they said to us, "Oh wow, this is like a cross between the Rugrats and Akira."
I guess so, yeah, because there's some like weird body mutations or just strange things going on with their bodies.
Yeah, no, I think that this show was a little bit ahead of a little bit too much ahead of the curve. It was outrageous. I mean, the funny thing is that it started on Fox Family Channel, and the rating went through the roof. I mean, people went nuts, kids went nuts about it. But the thing is that we were like right next to, I think it was a 700 Club show, and it didn't do well.
Oh no!
It didn't do well but not the show did extremely well. The rating was through the roof, but we got complained.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh yeah, going back to SWAT Kats, like everyone keeps thinking like Ted Turner canceled SWAT Kats because it's too violent, or
no.
What was it?
No, it was not the case. The case, to make a long story short, is that it was a financial decision triggered by merchandising coming out late. And the reason merchandising came out late, it's because 1994 was a time where there was a lot of movement against violence in TV, if you recall, and if you recall also in the music industry, like Twisted Sisters, were parents were suing them because of their lyrics. It was a time back then where violence was not violence, but there was a movement against anything that was actions or whatever.
That and Mortal Kombat came out around that time, and there was a huge uproar.
No, exactly. I remember vividly that time, and what happened is that the networks stood up together and said, well, no, it's not true. When it doesn't have any influence on television. But Ted Turner, against them, he said, well, we're not going to do any violent show. And I remember vividly, after that, we had some meeting on Albabera, and they say, well, guys, we're doing SWAT Kats. Things explode and stuff like that. So the show was not marketed heavily because of they were because of that statement. They had to be careful a little bit, and so was the program of the licensing and merchandising. But when the show started to be popular in the second season and everything, then it takes a while to get toy manufacturers and get the toys out in the marketplace. So the toy came out late, the revenues came out late, and then it became a financial decision, triggered a little bit. I would say, it was triggered in some ways by, movement of, parents against violence, whatever it is. I mean, when I was a kid, I watched things, I would miss school to watch Sinbad and Bruce Lee and stuff like that. And I think I turned out pretty good. So, always made me laugh, those kind of things. But that's really what happened.
Hmm. Yeah, so just bad timing overall is what killed it.
Yeah, I think that's this
Yeah.
internal internal things, a climate situation.
Yeah, I think SWAT Cats would have done better if it was like in the late 90s or maybe not too late because I don't know. I think all the buildings getting blown up would be a bad idea around in a post 9/11 Cartoon
Oh
Network.
yeah, that was.
So it's kind of like it's hard to put this show on the air.
I believe strongly that if back then the era of internet and social and all of those things would have existed, the show would have continued for sure. They would have had so much request, a little bit like what happened to Family Guy
Yeah.
when it got pulled, and then the DVD started to do well, and then it was the fans.
Hmm.
So, but it's okay. I mean, we're in a good position now. The fans are responding, and we're up there, to create something new. And the good thing is that now we can do a show because it doesn't have to air. It can be aired anywhere.
Hmm.
So we're not bound by any type of restrictions, if I may say.
Yeah. Oh, and let me go talk about your other show, Lunatics Unleashed. The
Yeah. Lunatics was a very difficult production, and we suffered the same type of things. And what triggered it was first of all, I have to say the original vision of Lunatics Unleashed was a very cool, and visually it has nothing really to do, not that much to do with what has been on the air, but a little bit, but
yeah.
But the thing is that it was a new project.
Hmm.
And then we came to the studio one morning, and there was a big article pinned on the wall from the Wall Street Journal, and it says Bugs Bunny's makeover.
Yeah, I saw this news article in
Yeah. So when we read that, we said, who's behind this article? It's not a makeover at all. And then we're creating something new. But there was a pictures of both Bugs Bunny. There was a pictures of Lunatics that I did, and from there, seriously, it went national. The national news. I don't know if you recall, but I have all those footage on a DVD
Mhm.
everywhere. ABC, CBS, NBC. And what happened is that on one of those broadcasts of the news, I'm talking national news here, it's like
Yeah.
Tom Brokaw and all those guys. They showed a picture of the Lunatics to a kid. He was about 3 years old.
I actually have footage of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they showed the picture and they said, "What do you think of the new Bugs Bunny?" And he said, "Oh, it's scary." And it went all the way to the top management of the whole Warner Brothers, and then they got scared, and then they stopped. At one point, they stopped the production, and Warner Brothers Studios Animation, they had to go back and say, no, 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 guys. And then from that moment on, it became very difficult. So it's nothing more for me to say. It was a difficult production,
Hmm.
and what has been on the screen was probably maybe 15-20% of our original vision.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the old concept art. It's much sharper and much different from what we got, and I'm really curious how that would have turned out.
We did a test with one animation studio, and in one particular test that we did a couple of tests with different studios, but one particular test, there was a moment into that test, like a 5-6 seconds of it, that was our vision. It was like when we saw it, that's it. This is what it is. And if it would have come out like that, I think it would have been incredible. It was something new, man. It was like it was action. There was edge to it, but there was still very strong personalities. There was comedy a little bit. We were creating something new, but it was what it was.
Yeah.
Just a difficult production to do because there was so many eyesight on it. That's why.
Yeah, would it be something like just SWAT Cats in that style, or what would it be? Like mostly comedy or action?
The Lunatics you're talking about?
Yeah, Lunatics.
No. It was along the line a little bit of Swat Kats, I have to say. But there was some scenes in there were like really outstanding. I mean, if you would have keep it like that.
Is there any footage left over?
I think it's something we have on our. I would have to dig on my DVD that has all those. I might have it.
Yeah, you should release some of the lost footage because, like, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would love to see what it would have looked like originally.
Since it's part of Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if I would be allowed, but it's out there. I mean, it's you know.
Okay, because I saw some footage, but it was like they were reusing footage from like Batman, the Batman, with
No. Well, we're really talking about animation tests from Asian studios.
Ah, okay.
we gave them like a sequence to animate. Mm-hmm. So I basically did a storyboarding of that, and then the what came out, a particular sequence out of that came out. It's like, yeah, that's it. This is what we're talking about. This is what is in our head. This is what should be in the screen. But we had to, at one point, we had to put pupils into the characters, the eyes, and it just everything went toned down.
Have you seen this one video where it's like this parody called A New Bunny, and it's this rabbit saying, "What up? I'm extreme. I'm from the future. I kick ass." You ever see that video?
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
I love that video.
No, I mean it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
But you can't. I don't know how the whole thing happened, but you can't talk about something that is not. It was never ever a makeover. Yeah. I would never dare. So to do.
Because I forgot. Like, okay, truthfully, I made this one video where it was like worst redesigns, and I'm sorry, but I put that on there. Lunatics. But like I do want to see the original version because that looks more interesting to me, because the new one looks more nerfed and more overly just kid friendly, I guess.
Yeah, no, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Something I like to put in the back. I know what we've done. I have drawings. I have the stuff of that. But it didn't came out their way.
But yeah, but like, because they were supposed to be the next generation. They were supposed to be like the descendants of Looney Tunes, not the actual Looney Tunes themselves.
No, it was never the Looney. It was never them. It was It was something new. Just like Tiny Toons were something new.
Mm-hmm.
We were something new.
Yeah.
Our tagline was, the original poster I did was "Familiar Faces, a Whole New World."
Yeah. Because, yeah, I can see, like, a lot of people respond really weird to that, because there are such established characters, and put them in action scenes is just really unusual.
Yeah, it's but it was never Bugs Bunny, it was never, well, first of all, when we came out, when Warner Brothers, we came out at a meeting, and they said, guys, if you want to come up with something, you have carte blanche. I mean, I was not even on the path of crossing the door in my head. Said, "What the heck we're gonna do? We're not gonna do Bugs Bunny for sure. We can't. There was no point to redo new Bugs Bunnies and stuff like that. We had to come up with something new, and it's fine, as long as you keep a vision, and you have to. We also have to be bold, have to dare try things and stuff like that. And again, original vision, for us was great. But circumstances, again, that's what happens sometimes, when you you try things, but it was.
Yeah, I heard, wasn't it originally going to be with the designs of another TV show, like Road Rovers or something? That's what I've heard. Someone told me that, and I don't know if that's true or not.
Never heard of that.
Okay, never mind. Well, I guess, I don't know, that's all for the interview. Like, was there anything else you wanted to say about Swat Kats or your other shows?
Well, no, I mean, what I would say again, is on behalf of me and my brother, our deep appreciations, of the support, through those years of the fans, and then and I also encourage, people who have never heard about Swat Kats to stay put, because the things we're gonna build with it, and I think they're gonna discover something great, and then I think that the fans will will rediscover their characters that they came to love and care for. And then we're going to expand this, to new adventures and new things. And but a great thanks. It's because of the fans we're doing this Kickstarter campaign now.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely, it's a big responsibility to be faithful to the legacy of this brand. And we're going to do everything, to bring it back.